Well, the transmission's out. It wasn't too difficult. Master cylinder leak, I think, was actually coming out of the gasket, because I tried to reuse the old gasket, and I think it was coming out of the top, so I cut a new gasket for it, cranked it back down. But got the transmission out. No real drama. But the belt drive's not going back, because when I was disassembling the transmission, I pulled everything off and I was looking at it, and I noticed the keyway was junk. And I didn't remember that from when I installed it. And this is going to look terrible, but the hub had actually cracked. It split right along there and peened this out and twisted and nearly sheared the key. So I tried to push it back in so I could get that pushed through, but it's jammed. So that's the end of that experiment. My learning from this whole thing, a couple of them. One is it's probably unrealistic to expect that you're going to keep all of the oil out of the primary on an AMF shovel head. And two, the belt drive, because it's direct to the crank, I think that the elimination of that compensation hub is a bad idea. Obviously that piece inside of that hub, that clutch hub, is aluminum, but it broke. So, I mean, yeah, I was having trouble shifting it and it jammed into a couple of gears, but that was 2 or 3 times maybe, and only one really bad one over the course of a total of 75 miles that I put on this thing. And it fractured that hub and tore up the main shaft. So thinking that through makes me concerned about what that force level is going to potentially do to the crank bearings eventually, or the crank hub. You know, that spline shaft right there, that's your crankshaft, I believe. And I really don't want to bust the bottom end of this thing open to have to change any of that. So I am going to be rebuilding this pretty much in its entirety, including a new main shaft. I could probably pound that back together, but it's got some splits in it, and I mean, why? I'm going to have it all apart anyway. It's an extra couple of $100 for the main shaft, but why not? I'm a little disappointed that the belt drive didn't work, but I'm not going to say that it was the fault of the belt drive, because who's to say this taper is any good right now? I mean, this thing's 40 years old. It's definitely got a lot of wear on it, a lot of miles. It's had a couple of different clutches in its life. So, I mean, who's to say? Could have been any one of a number of things. I'm not blaming the clutch. I'm not blaming the belt drive. I really wish I could have got it to work, because I really liked it. But I'm not going to put it back, because I don't think that for the longevity of the bike, I don't think it's going to be the best thing. So I'm going to start now by hosing this thing down with some degreaser, because this is the first time it's ever been out of the bike in 40 years. And then I'll take some video while I'm repairing it, but I'm not going to make a how-to video on this, because there is no way that I can top the how-to video that's already online, and I will link to it in the description of this video. It's well over an hour and a half. I think it's over an hour and a half long, maybe an hour and 45 minutes long, but it goes through the entire process of top to bottom how to rebuild one of these units, and it is absolutely brilliant. So I'm going to actually have my little tablet out here and having it walk me through step by step what I need to do to make sure I don't foul this thing up beyond absolute repair, because these units ain't cheap. This is probably $1,600 to $2,000 if I need a new one. And I don't really want to spend that much on this bike. But that's what we found today when I started taking it apart. So we will keep you updated. So the shifter's off. And 100% disassembled. I did find a broken part. One of the pole carrier springs had failed. I don't know whether that had anything to do with why it was shifting funky, but I'm gonna hopefully be able to get replacements. Everything else looked really good. No real wear on the cam or the shifter itself. What the thing I don't understand is this is actually where the shifter comes out and it's attached to the foot shift, and this piece goes on here like that. In the video it just shows that you take the cotter pin out and it pops off. This one, I don't know if you can see that, it's like chewed up or peened. I don't know why. It came off real hard. I was a little concerned about getting that out of there. But we did, and it didn't do any damage to the shaft. So I think we're going to be in good shape. I'll probably clean that up before I put it back together. But this gearbox amazes me, because I mean, even this shifter, look at all the parts. I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, a dozen screws, 3 springs, a couple of small fasteners like this little thing here, and a couple of other ones like this one here, a few other ones like that in there, and it's all in this little aluminum case. It's incredible. Every bit of this back in the 70s was assembled by, well, maybe a lady, but I'm assuming some dude with hand tools. And it held together for 40 years and a lot of abuse with one broken spring. And the spring's a wear part, and it even says it in the video. So there isn't even anything on this thing that looks worn yet. I'm amazed at the design of these gearboxes. And you know, this gearbox was, you know, used by Harley-Davidson for probably 40 years, up through mid-80s, I think. And you know, it works. It's just phenomenal. It truly though does amaze me, the amount of hand assembly that was done. You know, everybody complains about AMF, but honestly, to me, people who do just aren't Harley people. Because if AMF hadn't existed, the Harley-Davidson wouldn't today exist, because they saved the company. Yeah, you can complain about their quality and the fact that all the bikes leak and everything else. Yeah, whatever. But if they hadn't purchased the company back probably in the late 60s, early 70s, whenever they did, and kept it going, it wouldn't have existed for the company, the employees, to buy it back in '84 or whenever that was. So the bikes you're riding today are a direct result of AMF putting out some cash and saying, you know, we want to keep this American mark alive. And they did. And, you know, this gearbox is incredible to me. That every bit of this thing had to be hand assembled. Because there's no other way. It's just, you can't do this with a machine. I mean, you probably can today, but certainly 40 years ago you didn't. It's unbelievable. But, so, that's my update. And we're going to carry on.